We're getting close to Rosh Hashanah. I heard Davar B'Shem Omro, Rav Asher Kowalski from the Komarner Rebbe, who said it from the Chernobyl Rebbe, who heard it from the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement, who learned it from his teacher Achia Shiloni, who learned it from the Arizal, one of the source of the Jewish mysticism. And the idea, they said, we are now at the season, we bless each other, Leshana Tova, may it will be a happy and healthy year. Ktiva v'chatima tova, maybe it will be inscribed and sealed in the book of life. When we are doing such a thing, for sure it brings merit, it brings zchuyot, privileges upon us. So they said from the Arizal that from Tu B'Av, from 15 of Av until Rosh Hashanah, in heaven they counted how many times you said to other people these blessings. You're blessing other people. And then they collected all those times and presented at the day of judgment, and it will be a melitze yosher, a lobbyist for you for a blessing good, for good year. So therefore, we should do it as a good example, and we should bless each other at this time, that may this year, 5776, will be a year of blessings. Leshana Tova Umtuka. First and foremost, to each and every one of you who are here so early in the morning, no matter how's the weather outside, it's admirable. I always said the beauty here that it's not like Hollywood. People get paid to be an audience. You are here because you love Torah and love study Torah and devoted to Torah for years. So for the zchut of the Torah, as well as people who watch us on the internet, for the zchut of study Torah and distributing Torah, may Hashem bless each and every one of you and your family. That this year will be a year that you inscribe for life of happiness, life of good health, life of prosperity. May this year will be a year that all of your heart wishes will come for good, and may Hashem grant each and every one of you for an abundance of happiness, abundance of success, and may this year will be a year of growth individually and collectively. Leshana Tova, Nikatev, Tikatvu, V'neichatem, Teichatmu, Le'altar, Le'chayim Tovim, U'Leshalom, Shana Tova U'Metuka, Amen. We are beginning a new chapter, chapter 3. So far, we understand, and when it's come to Nazir, someone who accepted upon himself Nazirut. And acceptance, we explained that it can be one, but it's cover all three. Mainly, one, avoidance from wine or grape, cutting hair, shaving, and contact to a dead body. At the completion of the period, there is a process, a ritual process the Torah requires ones to go. And that's the Torah called Beyom Melot Yemei Nizro, at the days that the Nazir completed his term of Nazirut, he needs to bring 3 korbanot, 3 offerings. One is Chatat, the sin offering, Olah, burn offering, and Shlamim, the peace offering. Then, as the Torah and the Rambam instructed us, he needs to do the haircut, and then he brings the offering. That's what the Torah said in the book of Bamidbar, chapter 6, and that's called Tiglachat Tahara, doing the haircut in order to purify oneself. So we explain, based on our study on page 5, the disputation between Rav Matna and Bar Pada, if you remember. If not, then just scroll down to page 5. Rav Matna speaks about Nezirut, general stam. Follow the study we have, that is 30 days. Bar Pada said is 29 days. Mishnah. Misha Amar Hareini Nazir. He just make a statement that he accepted upon himself to be a Nazir. Megaleach Yom 31. He shaved, he cut his hair and bringing his offering on a day of the 31. Ve'im gilach liyom 30. However, if he cut his hair at the day of 30, yatsa bediavad, after the fact, he fulfilled his obligation of Nezirut and Tiglachat, even though we say that you need to have a full 30 days and bringing the offering the next day. Here we hold, as you remember yesterday, Miktzat Hayom Kekulo, part of the day we take as the full day, and Bedi Avad, after the fact, he can bring his offering, do the Giluach, etc. That's the way the Rosh said. But if someone circumscribed his statement, he limited, and he said, Hareini Nazir 30 Yom. He said, not just Hareini Nazir, he specified by saying, this is for what? For 30 days period. Now he's a new state. He needs to bring his offering on the day of 31. Im gilach leyom 30. If he shave and he brings his offering on the 30 days, lo yatsa. He did not fulfill his obligation. It is not shleimim. It's not completion of 30 days, because we do not treat it as part of the day, miktzat hayom kechulo, like a full day, which means that he took a haircut or shave premature before he completed the period that he needs to do. That's the way the Rosh explained to us. Now the Mishnah elaborates of the time frame for someone who accepted upon himself 2 terms of Nazirut in a subsequent order. Mi shenazar shtei Nazirot, if someone who declared 2 consecutive standard term of Nazirut, which means he didn't put a clear term to each and every one of them, so therefore he needs to go to a full process between the shaving and bringing an offering in the separately. Megaleach et harishona yom 31, as we said earlier, at the 31st day he can cut and bring his offering. Ve'et hashniya yom 61, and the second term at the 61 day, because the 31 day that he shaved for the first Nazirut, we treated as also the first day of the second one, the moment that he bring his offering, the first offering. So he's basically departed from that one, and from that point it starts the second term of Nazirut, part of that day considering as a full day. So it means that the 61 day of his Neder is the 31 day for the beginning of the second one. And therefore, ve'im gilach et harishona yom 30, if he came and cut the first term at the 30 days, which means that not lechatchila, but b'diavad, he fulfilled his obligation, which means the second term of the Nazirut began already at the 30th day. Megaleach et hashniya yom 60. He goes by the second term of Nazirut to the 60 days, which is the 31 day of the second Nazirut. Ve'im gilach yom 60 chaser echad, if he did it on the 59th day, which is the 30 day for the second Nazirut, Yatsa, which is, as we said several times, that Nazir that did this manner of cutting hair at the 30 days, after the fact, b'di'avad, yatsa, he fulfilled. Now we bring a little story that just bring a proof to that point. And the story said, V'zo edut he'id Rabbi Papias. It was a testimony that came from Rabbi Papias, who came before our sages in the town of the vineyard of Yavne, which I told you many times that my son-in-law who studied Dayanut, he is one of the Rabbonim there. That's a Mishnah, Tractate Eduyot, chapter 7, Mishnah number 8. Al mi shenazar shte nezirot, someone who committed himself to a term of nezirot, sheim gilach et harishona yom shloshim, that if he shaved for the first one on the 30 days of his neder, megaleach et hashniya leyom shishim, so he does the second one on the 60th day, ve'im gilach leyom shishim chaser echad, but if he cut at the 59 days, 60 minus 1, yatsa b'di'avad, after the fact, he fulfilled his obligation. Why? Shiyom shel shloshim, the 30 days of his neder, if he shave and bring this offering, ole lo min haminyan. So it's considering miscount as a day 30. So that's the second term as well as the first term, which means that the 30 days olel mikan ulekan, for the last and the first, both Naziriyot. So therefore, the Meiri asked a question, so what do? You allowed to drink wine that day or not? So it's a discussion when, if you allow him. But the Minchat Chinuch said, ask a question, why you allow him to cut his hair at all? Because the question is, if you go, Chazon Ish tried to explain this Minchat Chinuch, he tried to say that if you talk all these three, all this not drinking, not shaving, not contact with dead body, so the question is he under the category of Dinei Nezirut or not? Anyway, it's a very interesting Chazon Ish. Now the Mishnah go to speak about Nazir that contaminated the last day of his Nazirut, and Nazir that contact with a dead body during his Nazirut. So we said earlier that he's no longer count those days. He need to go back and start from the beginning. So there is a big discussion among the Rishonim how you treated those days, if it's a full days, Yamim Meleim or not. Anyway, Mi Shamar Hareini Nazir, that it means that he committed himself to 30 days period of Nazirut. Nitma Yom Shloshim, if he is contaminated on the 30 days, which means that he didn't have a chance to bring his offering of Nazirut and purification, Soteret Hakol, all the previous days that he already observed Nazirut are no longer in effect, because you do not hold that part of the day, Miktzat Hayom, is like the entire day, Kechulo. Only that applies for someone who completed the obligation by cutting hair, bringing his offering, but this one had become ritually impure until before he brings his offering is like all the other Nazirim that become impure during the period of their Nazirut. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Rabbi Eliezer said, Eino soter el hashiva, he fortifies only 7 days. Why? Because since he treated part of the Nazirut at part of the day, so we hold that Miktzat Hayom Kechulo, part of the day is considering the entire day, So even though he become ritually impure before he bring this offering of Nazirut, he will be treated as Nazir that become ritually impure after the completion of the days of Nazirut. So therefore you do not have any fortification of his Nazirut, and therefore you don't have the whole process of Tiglachad. Harei Nazir 30 yom. If someone committed himself to be Nazir for 30 days period, so now you said Rabbi Eliezer hold Nitma yom 30 soter et hakol, that if he become ritually impure on the 30 days, he fortifies all the days that he have already observed. Now, so everyone agrees that in this case you don't treat it as miktzat hayom kechulo, the part of the day, like the entire day. Harei Nazir 100 yom. If someone commits himself to be Nazir for 100 days, which means that he needs to do the cutting hair and bringing the sacrificial offering day after, which is the day of 101, Nitma yom 100. If he become ritually impure on the 100th day of his Nazirut, soter et hakol, so he fortifies all the days that he have already observed. So therefore, so now he needs to go back, Chozer limnot, he goes back to the original of 100 days of Nazirut. Rabbi Eliezer hold, since the whole case happened only at the last day of his Nazirut, therefore eino soter ela 30. The only time he needs to go back is the 30 days. Why? Because since the Torah used the term Yom HaMelot, meaning that the Torah is lenient when it's come to a regular man of Nazirut, that is 30 days. Nitma Yom 101, if he become ritually impure the 101 day, after he make that vow, which means the day that he's supposed to shave, but he's still not bringing an offering, soter 30 yom, so he fortified by the rabbinic law 30 days, because it's called Yom Melot. The Torah said that it's Tosfot tells us that it's Gzerah, that is the decree. Rabbi Eliezer hold, since he become ritually impure after he completed the term of his Nazirut, eino soter ela shiv'a, he fortifies only 7 days, because as long as he is ritually impure, he is tameh, so he cannot bring a sacrificial offering during those days. So therefore, Rabbi Eliezer hold that the sages do not put a decree for someone who become ritually impure the day that he's supposed to do a haircut and shave. So for sure there is a big difference between Rav Matna and Ben Pada, how you treated those days, the 31, the 30, etc. But in general, as we said, we so far follow the direction of Rav Matna. So now the Gemara explained the view of Rabbi Eliezer in the Mishnah and start with the first disputation. Mi she'amar hareini Nazir. If one who said, I am hereby a Nazir, a Nazirite, v'nitma yom 30, and he become ritually impure on the 30th day, soter et hakol, it negates the entire toll. Rabbi Eliezer hold, eino soter la shiva, it negates only 7 days only. Why? Because he become ritually impure on the 30th day. 16b, kasava Rabbi Eliezer. So Rabbi Eliezer holds that kol achar melot, that when anyone become ritually impure after the completion of the term of the Nazirut, But before he brought the sacrificial offering, if he have the situation that all of a sudden he become ritually impure, Shiv'a Soter, so they fortifies only 7 days, which means if he delay the concluding ritual only by 7 days, needed for the purification, which means that it's just delay, me'ukav. Why? Because you treated, as we said several times, מקצת היום, part of the day, ככולו, הרי נזיר 30 יום ונטמא יום 30. The Mishnah said if someone committed himself to be Nazirite for 30 days and he become ritually impure on the 30th day, סותר את הכל. He needs to go to square one and start the 30 days. Now, why Rabbi Eliezer hold that way? לא פליק רבי אליעזר. He did not dispute the Tana Kama de'amar shlemin, which means that they had completion. That it means you do not treat it miktzat hayom, part of the day, the same as the full day. So the idea is that when someone expresses it with time frame, he said X amount, 30 days, so you need to have completion shleimim of 30 days. That's the way the Rosh explains. הרי נזיר 100 יום ונטמא יום 100. He committed himself to be Nazir 100 days, and then he become ritually impure on the 100 days. סותר את הכל. He forfeits all. So then after he become ritually pure, he needs to count the entire 100 days from the beginning. רבי אליעזר אומר, אינו סותר אלא 30. Only 30 days. So as we said, on page 6b, the Gemara elaborates on the difference between Rav Matna and Bar Pada, so there's no need again here, בחולה, כי דאבינה בעליבא דרב פדה ורב מתנה. You don't need to do it again. So based on this, it was a well-known response from the Noida Biyuda, the famous Rabbi Landau. He asked, what do you do with Pidyon Haben? When it's come to a Pidyon Haben, you have the idea of the baby that is nefel until the 30 days, but now is 29 days and 12 hours. So 29 days and 12 hours, what do you treat it? As the 30th day or the 31st day, the eve of the 31st. So we basically, they said that they make a takana, they make a decree that people should not mistaken to mix with the baby of 29 days and 12 hours. And it's based on the same school of thought we have here, the disputation between Rav Matna and Bar Pada. The next Mishnah dealing of the contamination to dead body. The Torah said in the book of Bamidbar, chapter 19, that the person become ritually impure for 7 days. So someone touched the corpse, he's 7 days ritually impure. So if he come to purify himself, so they sprinkle on him the water of the red heifer. On the 3rd day and on the 7th day of his purification, he dach in a mikveh on the 7th day, and then the eve he become ritually impure. That's a famous Rambam in Ilchot Parah Aduma, chapter 11. Let me see the Rambam. Anyway, so as we see that Nazir that become ritually impure during the days of Nazirut, the Torah said that all those days are cancelled, need to count again. And then Misha Nazar vehu beveit hakvarot. If one who took a vow of Nazirut while he is in a cemetery, afilu haya sham 30 yom, which means he was there even the period of 30 days. That's the term of the regular Nazirut. or Rabbeinu Azriel said that he didn't have a wine or didn't cut his hair for 30 days. אין עולים לו מן המניין ואינו מביא קורבן טומאה. You don't count those days in part of that, meaning the Nezirut take effect, and it does not bring an offering of impurity for re-entering the cemetery. Now, Yatsa, if he departed from the cemetery, so the Beit HaLevi explain that's what we said at Metameh Mevatel Nezirut, because that's not applied to Bal Yachel Dvarod. What we explained, that it's a violation of not fulfill his vow. But if he drink wine or did a cutting hair, then he's in violation of Bal Yachel. Anyway, Yatsa, and then Venichnas. So it means the Tosfot said that they sprinkled the water of the red cow on the third and the seventh day, and he dug himself in the mikveh, and he entered again to a cemetery. Olim lo min hamiyan mevi korban tumah. That even the seventh day is count, and that day he have the matter of purification of tahara, and when he become again ritually impure, so he is the same as all the other Nazirim, that he needs to bring an offering and cutting hair for ritual impurity. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, lo bo bayom. He says it's not halacha applies on that very day that he left, because the Torah said, שנאמר והימים הראשונים יפלו, for the first days shall be void, which indicates that he does not bring the offering עד שיהיו לו ימים ראשונים, until he will have first days of purity, during which he observed his Nezirut. So the Malbim, Rab Meir Leivush, his explanation of the Torah, by the way, he was student of my great-grandfather, the Zidichoive Rebbe. Anyway, Rabbi Tzvi. But the Malbim said that's not necessarily the cemetery, but even a general tum'ah, the purification of a dead body. Anyway, now the Gemara bringing the disputation of Amoraim for someone who's Nazir at the cemetery. Itmar. Mishe Nazar, Itmar Mishe Nazar v'hu beveit hakvarot, meaning he committed himself to be Nazir while he was in a cemetery. Rabbi Yochanan amar Nezirut chala alav, which is he prohibited from drinking wine, taking a haircut, and ritual impurity of the dead bodies, so he cannot do that when in a cemetery. So he must depart from the cemetery and purified himself. So the Rosh said that if they warn him not to do that, not to do Nezirut at the cemetery, and he did, so he deserved Malkot. So, but he's not bringing an offering of Tum'ah. Reish Lakish amar ein Nezirut chala alav. And Reish Lakish said, no, Nezirut does not take effect on him. So he allowed to do everything until that he go again and accept upon himself good morning when he departed from the cemetery and become ritually pure. So the Khatam Sofer bring the sugya in Tractate Tmura based on this, that the whole idea of disputation between Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan is basically how far you ask him to depart immediately from the cemetery and accepted that, because that's the whole idea of Lav Amula said that the Torah said Lot Te'achel Shalmo in one hand, and when he's purified and he accepted this matter of Nezirut, he reaffirmed his statement. Anyway, it's a famous Khatam Sofer here. רבי יוחנן אמר, נזירות חלה עליו, סבר מיתלה טליה וקיימה, כיוון דמשכחה טהרה, חיילה. So Rabbi Yochanan said that Nizirut take effect for him. He hold that all these are accepted upon himself. Nizirut is pending. So that when he found that he is in a state of ritual purity, it takes immediate effect. So the vow registered when he states it, but cannot take effect in practice as long as they stand in a ritually impure location. וריש לקיש אמר, and Rish Lakish said, אין נזירות חלה עליו, that the נזירות does not take effect for him at all. So therefore, ידר ואמר חיילה לי, if he again said after leaving the cemetery that he accepts the vow of נזירות, that it takes effect for him. V'ila lo, but if he does not repeat his vow, he is not Nazir. So you see it a very clear idea of what does that mean when we said אינם עולים לו מן המניין. היטיבי רבי יוחנן לריש לקיש, מי שנזר והוא בבית הקברות, מי שנזר והוא בבית הקברות, as we said, someone who commit Nazir and is in a cemetery, אפילו היה שם 30 יום, even he was there for 30 days, אין עולים לו מן המניין. The days in the cemetery are not recounted on in the count of his term, which means that he doesn't count those days. ואינו מביא קורבן טומאה. So you derive from that. קורבן טומאה הוא דלא מייטי. המיכל חיילה עלי. So he's not bringing a sacrificial offering for the ritual impurity, but the Nazirut take effect and it does take effect upon him. So the question is, how come you say that he is exempt from offering of Nazirut Tumah if he's not Nazir? Amar lei Rish Lakish said to Rabbi Yochanan, the Mishnah meant אינו בתורת טומאה ואינו בתורת קורבן. He is not subject of law of the prohibited ritual impurity, not subject to law obligated to a special טומאה sacrifice. 80 ואם שהיה טמא, if someone, good morning, ritual impure to a dead body, ונזר אסור לגלח ולשתות יין ולטמא למתים, as we said, that's the three prohibition. ואם גילח ושתה יין ולטמא למתים, הרי זה סופג את 40. deserve מלכות. היא אמרת בשלמה חיילה אנו תמה לסופג את 40, אלא היא אמרת לו חיילה מה היא סופגת 40, because he allowed for all of that. Page 17, so the Gemarrah responded and said, you can go by the Rish Lakish that he hold that if he violated his Nazirut when he is ritually impure, since it's still not there, Nazir, the one who left and entered, meaning that after having left the cemetery and purifying himself, he then vow again to be Nazir and subsequently re-enter the cemetery. So that's the time of the Neder, Tosfot said, happened. So you can derive from that another halacha, the Ktsot HaChoshen, dealing with the question, someone go before the Rav. And he said, I asked the Rav to mitpalel, to pray for something. So it's a question of Gdorim. What does that mean? You ask him to daven for you. So if it's just prayer, just dibur be'alma, which is valuable, right, is one thing. But if you, in a way, hired him, you said to the rabbi, pray that this guy taking to court will not win the case, not charge me, etc., etc., or he goes against someone, pray that I'll win and I get something out of that. So the question is, if he make it in the language of vows, So therefore, if something happened for good, he needs to pay the rabbi. If he's no longer among the living, he needs to give to his heir, right? But if you are like hiring employee, hiring someone, then if he's not around, you don't need to give to the next generation. The key point is that the Ketzot HaChoshen Dan, it's based on this sugya. How far you go with this type of obligation you make toward asking him to do something for you. How far you go with these obligations. Again, the Ketzot HaChoshen is a long ride up.